Hi there, welcome to Huson DIY. My name's Ben. So this is the next video in the series of our Pro 3018 CNC machine. In this video we're going to do a test engraving. It's not like a finished product, just a test one. So we're going to install some software, install the drivers on a PC, get the software set up to actually do the engraving. So we'll go through that step by step. None of this is done so far, so we're doing this as a trial and error, so things probably will and may go wrong. So we'll get started first of all. We'll jump into using the USB stick that's in the laptop now that came with the machine. So that's in the device, in my PC now. We're going to use the files from that USB drive to install the driver and then get the correct software we need.
Okay, so the first mention, as I just mentioned, now we've got the USB drive plugged into the PC. It came with the machine. So I'm just looking here through the folders, going to that folder, into the driver folder, and you've got that exe there. So I'll just double click that and run this exe. So all we're going to do is hopefully click through this. There's only that one INF file there, and then click install. I don't think this should take too long, but let's see what happens. Okay, we've got a failure. So let's try that again. That's failed again. Okay, strange. Let's have a look at the help, just see if there's anything in there that I'm missing. Don't think I'm particularly missing anything. Following the right. Yeah. Very strange. Okay, I've just realised I'm actually doing this straight off the USB drive, so what we'll do is let me take these files off there, copy them, and then put them into a folder on my desktop so they're saved locally on the machine. Not sure if that's the reason why, but we'll try that first. I suppose it's quite hard. What I'll do is I'll use this folder just to keep all my CNC stuff in there anyway. Right, so let's paste all those files from the USB drive into this folder. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, should be more than that. There we go. So they're all there. Okay, so we go back into that software folder, into that driver folder, and rerun that exe file now. See what happens now. I'll run it as admin as well, just to be doubly sure, and click install. Okay, so still failed. Okay, obviously doing something wrong, aren't I? Definitely doesn't say anything in the help. I don't believe. Okay, I made a schoolboy error. Didn't plug the device in, so I've plugged in the CNC machine now, and I'm going to click install. Hopefully this should work. So I didn't have it plugged in previously to USB. Yes, okay, it's successful. So that was, I literally didn't have the CNC machine plugged in. So it obviously needs to be plugged in to install the driver onto it. So that was a total schoolboy error on my part there, but that's done now. That's the driver installed on there. So we need to install the UGS software now onto my laptop. So I'll straight onto the website here, which I'll put a link onto. So this is the software you use to send across code or send across the design onto the CNC machine. So I'll put a link in the description where I'm downloading this from. So we'll just fly through this install now, and we can have a look at the software. But as you can see, just installed that directly from GitHub. Sent me off to a link to download that zip file. So I'm just downloading that now. So I've installed that in my same CNC folder, and I've got the Universal G-Code sender software loading there now. So here's the software, so it looks like, where you can obviously connect to your machine. So a bit of a get start to guide there, and where you can obviously load the different files. So you've got the open section to find the file that you want that's got your G-code on. I'm going to try and connect to my device now. Okay, so what I'm trying to do at the moment, so I've still got it plugged into my USB part of my laptop now, but it's not connecting. So I've got the driver installed, it's not connecting. I've checked the COM ports on the machine at this point, and I can see it's definitely selected the right COM ports. So let me just check Device Manager again. I can see there that it's definitely the right one, but I should try and update the drivers on there. Apologies, this is kind of time-lapsed through just to show you what I went through when it didn't work. So I've currently got it plugged in directly into my laptop into the USB port. So for some reason the UGS software wouldn't detect the CNC, so the Pro 3018. So at this point now I'm trying to update the drivers, making sure I've got the right software at this point, selecting the right COM port and clicking that connect button at the top, but still not be able to get it connected. So I've changed the baud rate, thinking that might be the issue, but I'm pretty sure that's all set correctly. Again, trying to just update those drivers, just selecting different options. But this kind of gives you an idea what the software looks like. You've got the getting started to the welcome page in the middle, the section at the top where you can open your files from. Okay, so I was having a few issues there with connecting the device to my laptop. I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm going to try something else now. I'm not sure if it's something to do with those COM ports not connecting properly. So what I've done, let me show you what I've done. So I've got this USB hub. So it's what I generally use. I don't tend to use any USB-A, or if that's what it's called now. I've got a USB-C in. I got one of these standard USB hubs. So I've connected the cable there, obviously, into the CNC machine. So I've got UGS open here. I've got it ready to connect. What I'll do is load in that sample file that came with the USB device, which is the iPhone words. So it's not powered on, so I'm going to power it on now. Just give it a few seconds to power on, and then I'm going to check Device Manager again. Check Device Manager again. It loads. What's going on? Device Manager. So let's have a look at my USB. It's not coming up with any this time. Let me just unplug. Replug that back in. I'm on the wrong one. Let me check the ports. COM ports. It's going to refresh that. There we go. So I've got it now, which I'll see on there. I've got the USB serial port there. It doesn't have the error next to it. It's on COM port 22. So that's a totally different COM port to what we had before. So let me go in here, do a refresh in UGS. COM port 22 is there. Leave it at the same baud rate, and now I'm going to try and connect. Let's see if it works this time. So I've connected, connecting, idle. Okay, we're connected. So within the software now, I'm going to click on the jog controller tab there. And obviously I can see that I've got the control. I'm just going to knock this feed rate up, which is a speed in which it moves on along each axis. And then I'm going to test each of the axes just to see if that's without working. So let me just do that. So I'll do the Z axis first, which should obviously be that spindle motor going up and down.
Excellent, that's working. Up and down. X-axis, which is the spindle here going left to right. So we'll do that. That's also working. Excellent. And do it left. Excellent. And then the Y-axis, which is the bottom plate. So move that. That's also moving both directions. Excellent. So we've got full control over the device now. It's connected to the laptop successfully. Now we've messed about with those COM ports. So I'll get the camera set up to show you the machine a little bit better. We'll get it pinned down, get it locked down, and we'll do that first test engraving. Okay, so that's the base plate, the plywood fastened down. Took longer than I think it should have done, but I think I'll get better at that. Next thing, I'm going to put the drill bit, the router bit, sorry, into the machine. So it came with two sets. So it came with these really small ones with the blue tips on them to the protective tips. And it came with another set, looks slightly larger, probably to get rid of more material. So with this one, I'll go with one of the small ones. One of the really small ones, and just see how we get on. So I'm going to raise that spindle up now using the software. Okay, so that's raised up now. I'm going to use the two spanners that came with it, which is really cool. So I'm going to loosen this bottom off by hand. I'm going to pop that in to there, hopefully. Just loosen that off further. Okay, that's in. That's really sharp, just spark my finger. In fact, I'm going to pop that over the edge of it because I'm catching my finger slightly. Okay, so I'll tighten that by hand to start with. Like so. So it's in there, I've got the blue tip off now. So I'm assuming the wider one fit on the bottom, and the smaller one will go in there. So I'm going to tighten this up, but not too tight, because obviously with things like routers and stuff, if you do it too tight, it can be an absolute pain to get out. So let me tighten this up. Okay, so it's not like ultra tight, but I've done it 80% with my hands, let's say. Okay, so now we've got the router bit in. This is locked down. Let's get things lined up now to this iPhone engraving. So I need to. I'm going to move. So I'm going to try and do the print. Obviously, because you can see where the piece needs to be. You can see the yellow lines on there where the drill bit's going to run. So I need to get it somewhere down this bottom left-hand corner, so then it'll print engrave kind of here, so we don't catch any of the edge plates. So I'm going to start it around here physically. So I'm going to move this now with the software manually to somewhere over there. Let's go about there, I think. We'll just bring it towards us slightly. So that's there, and I'm going to put now the Z-axis down. So it's just touching that wood. I'll take it down one more. That's in the wood. That's now on the surface of the wood. So I'm going to do that, and then in the software again, I'm going to click now the reset 0. So I'm going to set that to the 0 point, which then should hopefully match it up on this start point here. Let's have a look at this visualizer. So yes, so it thinks at the moment this yellow icon at the moment is where I am, which is where I am, but I need to zero it up with that now. So if I press on reset 0, I'm hoping, yes. So we can see now at that point, that's the start point. Okay, so we've got everything set up. We've got the drill bit just touching just above that surface. This is all secured down. Software's connected. For the very first time, I'm going to press play in the software, or start. I'll send the code to it. Fingers crossed, we don't have any problems, but this literally is the very first time I've ever used one of these devices, and this, obviously this machine. So let's press that send button. Okay, so I've stopped that there a few seconds in. What I've noticed straight away is I obviously didn't have the drill bit low enough, so I'm a little bit too cautious with that. So let's move that let's use the jog controller and move it back, and let's move. That's into the surface now. So that's touching. I'm a little bit cold. I don't want to break anything. Let's give this a go now. So I'm connected again. So this is attempt number 2. So let's resend that code now. Okay, we'll stop again there. So again, I think I'm being too cautious. I'm going to put it slightly into the surface. Okay, we'll give this a go now. Hopefully we don't break it. Okay, same issue. So let's bring it back to a closer point. I'm going to go a little bit lower, even lower on that Z-axis now. My only concern is it is in the wood, so I'm wondering if I've not put the drill bit in properly, or the spindle's slightly too high in that case. Too high in the casing. I'm not sure. Let's give that a go. Let's try that again. Okay, same issue. So I'm going to go even further down with that Z-axis now. Oh, so you see that went in too far. So I think that's the lowest I can go. I can hear the feedback from it. It's going too far in. So let's try with that now. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to stop that there. So I'm obviously missing a part there, so I'm going to pause there, have a look in the software. So I'm not following a guide here, which I probably should have done. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so what I've just looked at, I've just had a thought, because when I put the drill bit down to the surface, I don't think I press reset 0. So if I bring it up, bring the bit up, take it back down, one less, one more actually. So that is on the surface now. So now go over to Toolbox, reset 0. I'm thinking I had the 0 point set above. So fingers crossed, give this another go now and hopefully this might work this time. Okay, done. Let's have a look. Use this useful little brush that came with it. First of all, though, I'm just going to move that drill bit out of the way. Use the jog controller just to take that out of the way. Okay, let me pause it there, and we'll go in for a bit of a closer look. Okay, a bit of a closer look. So it was an iPhone. The word iPhone to be printed, so I keep saying printed, apologies, to be engraved. So you can see it's done the outline there of the word iPhone. I think because it's not a very deep cut, it's just the outline, and I'm using plywood. It's obviously delaminated or broke away that first surface of the plywood. So the plywood might not be, again, I've not done the full research into this. I'm just going to do it by trial and error to see if I can work it out myself. But perhaps the plywood, if you're just doing a light outline cut, isn't the best. Okay, so this is the end of this video. So we did the software setup on the PC with UGS. We did install the driver on there as well to get connected to the machine. We did the troubleshooting with the I think it was down to the COM port. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely working properly now with the USB hub that I'm using. So I'm putting that down to a COM port issue. I don't know if that's common, but that seemed to have got around it for this one. We then went through an actual test of the machine. So a test engraving. Went through using the lock nuts to lock the piece of wood down, or the material down, onto the base plate. And then we obviously tried doing that first test. So I've learned a lot from that in terms of making sure to reset to 0 for the drill bit, even when you've loaded it down to that surface. So that is the point, our issue I were having. I didn't reset do the reset 0 when I got the drill bit down to the correct place. So I guess eventually over time, as I do this more and more, that reset 0 will kind of get drilled in, and I'll make sure I do that every time. But in terms of the test, it definitely worked. Hopefully you can see that just there. I think because it's plywood, obviously it's broke away a lot of that surface of the top layer of that plywood. Because obviously it's not great quality plywood, just a piece of scrap, but it's definitely worked. I can see the iPhone word really clearly there. It's the first drill bit I've used, that small one, which I think would be perfect for outlines anyway, because it's quite a really thin drill bit. So yeah, overall, I'm really pleased with the machine. It's the first one I've ever used, the first one I've ever seen. So obviously my expectations are probably pretty low anyway. But it's really good. It works. It's going to be a DIY device, DIY machine to start with. I'm going to start doing stuff for ourselves, for friends and family, making gifts. So I think for now, it's a perfect machine for me and the rest of the Huson DIY team. So the next video in this series, we're actually going to do a proper engraving. So I'm going to probably make a coaster, a wooden coaster for the office. So maybe either a round or square coaster, probably square to keep it nice and simple. And I'll do the Huson DIY logo in the middle of that. So I'm going to probably do a little bit more reading into that in terms of working out which drill bits to use. Because I think I'll probably need to use the bigger drill bits that came with the kit to take out more surface area. Because obviously those thin ones, I don't think they take forever. So I need to learn how to do that. Obviously, learn how to put our logo into some software. So the next one, I'll go through everything on the next one. We'll go through which software we're going to use, how we're going to create the code, obviously to get into this UGS software to send it to the device. So again, I've not done anything with engraving with the code before, so that's all new to me as well. It's going to be a massive learning curve, but we will get there, we will do it. So yeah. Hopefully this video has been useful to you. It's been useful to me with a learning curve along the way. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Any comments, any questions, anything you've seen I've done drastically wrong in this that you want to point out to me before I injure myself, please put it in the comments. If you've got any questions about this particular device, which I will link to in the description with Amazon, then drop them questions in. But other than that, that's it for this video. My name's Ben from Huson DIY, and we'll see you in the next one.